Hi guys, and good absolute morning. How are we doing today? Today we are making breakfast together. So I really hope that you have availability because it's not much to do outside anyway. The weather doesn't look that great, at least today, or at least for now. It might rain in a minute, and I really hope that you are awake. I didn't really want to do it too early. Well, part of that because I didn't wake up early or too early. So we're gonna go through these recipe in a minute, and I'm gonna show you what we're cooking today. Pretty easy, as you probably can see in the comments. We're gonna be making mushroom on toast, but not any mushroom on toast. We're gonna be making the best mushroom on toast because that's what we're doing here. And as always, you don't have to follow this recipe, and I'm encouraging you not to follow this recipe. Just kind of use parts from every here and there, parts that make sense for you, and just create it yourself, because this is a recipe again that can be made in so many ways. And maybe the mushroom on toast you're already making at home for your breakfast, or it can be done lunch or dinner, whatever you like to, whenever you like to eat it. It can be done in so many variations, and you probably have even a better recipe, which I'm waiting for it in the comments. Any suggestions? More than happy to take them, because cooking is not something that is set in stone. I think it should be a variation of ideas and whatever you like and whatever it works for you. I really hope that you have an amazing weekend. Well, we are towards the end of the weekend, but we still, I think, good for cooking. I'm not sure if you're feeling lazy today. If you're feeling lazy, probably just watch. If not, then maybe you want to cook probably in the same time, which is probably kind of hard because I didn't schedule this live stream so you can see the ingredients. Maybe something that I need to work on in the future and get it in a lot better place. So you guys, if you're willing to, actually let me know in the comments if you actually would like to see this in the future, cook this in the same time with me, because that's not a problem. We could organize it in a lot better way that we can schedule it, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, because you know me, sometimes I have like issues with all sorts of like the audio gear or whatever might happen, and I'll be a bit late in the stream. But no problem. If you like to cook in the same time with me, we can schedule in a lot better way, get ingredients ready, and just do it that way. Now, without further ado, let's go through the ingredients that we need for today's recipe, which is probably not your standard mushroom on toast, because we're doing it a bit more, I would say probably slightly more complicated, but definitely much better than something standard. Now, we've got here chestnut mushrooms. You know me, I'm a big fan of chestnut mushrooms, especially if you compare these to normal button mushrooms. They taste better. I feel like the value for money is there. They do have a bit stronger mushroom aroma, not a whole lot, but I feel like they are slightly stronger, at least in my opinion. So that's what brings something really good into the dish. So chestnut mushrooms. If you have porcini mushrooms, if you have shiitake mushrooms, you have a mixture of wild mushrooms, even better. If, let's say, all you've got is the shop around the corner and you can get only button mushrooms, happy days, you'll do a good job with that. Especially if, let's say, you add some truffle oil to your recipe or some truffle paste, which we might do in the end, but you could do that to kind of improve the mushroom flavor, which, although the truffle oil is got a very specific aroma, it's not necessarily kind of like mushroom orientated, but it will bring something nice to the dish, and we'll probably add a few a small drizzle in there. Now, what else we've got here? I'm gonna make the mushroom on toast with poached eggs. So I've got some eggs here that we're gonna be making. Water is here. I also have vinegar. Obviously, this will be used to add to the water so the eggs kind of like stay together whilst we poach them. Now, when we're making the mushrooms, I'm gonna be adding one small shallot. If you don't have shallots, onions. Regular onions will do the job. A quarter, I would say. A small amount. We don't wanna go crazy. I'm also going to be using a clove of garlic. Garlic and mushrooms are really good friends, so we're going to keep them really good friends this morning. I also have some double cream. This is kind of optional. Not everybody likes double cream. I'm going to be adding not a whole lot, but I want to have some sort of cream in there. You could do it without if you want to go slightly healthier, because obviously this has got quite a bit of fat, but considering that this morning you will be fine with a bit extra fat, so we should be good from this point of view. I've got some butter. Obviously butter The butter will be used when I'm toasting the bread, because I've got here some white bread. So I'm gonna be using this in a plate. So basically put the bread into the plate. After that, we're gonna have some avocado puree kind of thing, which obviously it needs some lemon, extra virgin olive oil, salt and pepper. So that's gonna go on top, and after that mushrooms, and only after that we're gonna go with the poached eggs. It sounds complicated, but it's not. Trust me, you can organize in a lot better way that I am, and don't talk that much and do it a lot faster. I can guarantee you that. That's something 100% true. Now let's go and let's start with this. First, I want to put the mushrooms on, and after the poached eggs, we'll leave them till the end because I want them nice and hot. So once we put the mushrooms on, we're gonna be moving to the avocado puree, or kind of like a guacamole, but a lot simpler, because we know I think you could go all the way, turn it into a guacamole, like a proper guacamole, but we're not gonna do that. Just kind of like settle somewhere in between, keep it a bit more simple. So let's do I'm just gonna move stuff that we don't need, because we got quite a few things here in a way. So we'll just move the bread from here, and hi Biggie Cheese, how are you doing? Nice to see you on the channel. I'm really happy that you're here to watch the recipe. Very fancy. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Well, we were going to. It was me and my wife going to opera. It was an opera not festival, concert. The Le Canave school. So that's why probably I was a bit more fancy than usual. But yeah, nice. Yeah, next time when you see me, probably just say hello, even if you're in a car. I'm more than happy to chat with you. That's great that you spot me on the street. We've got Alex in the house. Hi Alex, nice to see you. I'm thinking that you're off today because you guys usually don't work on Sundays, which is great. Yeah, Alex is one of my friends that's working into one of the fine dining places here in Jersey. We used to work together back in, I don't even know, must have been at least 6 years, something like that. Probably you'll tell me better, but around 6 years ago, yeah, we used to work together. Yeah, still a good place to visit, still a good food. One of my friends is head chef there. And I think the guys overall are doing a really good job, and I'm highly recommend going there, which is 6 years. Yeah, it must have been 6 years. Yeah, the restaurant I'm talking about is called Sunfire. So if you ever get the chance, if you ever get the budget, obviously it's slightly more expensive than your standard takeaway, but it's totally worth it. And I will see that as an experience, because the guys are really passionate and they use local fresh ingredients, locally sourced. They based on that, and yeah, they're doing a great job. So I will highly recommend if you guys go there, yeah. And maybe see Alex in the kitchen, because they got like a kind of like semi-open kitchen, or kind of open kitchen in a way. And then you can see the chefs cooking in the kitchen if you ask for a table next to the kitchen, which is great. I always like seeing chefs in action, you know, the way they cook, the way they kind of design the plate. So I think it's great from this point of view. And we've got Patricia. Yeah, Patricia is already ahead of us. Yeah, we just kind of talking here, but Patricia is already ahead of us. She's already done with her breakfast. She's just enjoying it. We still have work to do. Okay, let's get into the mushrooms. So I've got the shallots here. Now, the shallot. So the idea is not necessarily that I was looking for shallots, but for some reason my wife bought some shallots. I was like, you know what, they work well because they are kind of like lighter flavor. I don't necessarily buy them myself because they usually tend to be slightly more expensive. Regular onion will do the job. Now let's just get these finely chopped. I mean, not necessarily extremely, you don't need to go crazy. This is not going to be used, it's not going to be used as a garnish. If you were to go to probably fine dining places, you would have to chop your shallot something like this. So basically you go one by one, basically, or maybe two the most, and they get them like as fine as possible, and only after you can, let me actually show you because you don't see anything obviously. Yeah, so after you would go like this to get them as fine as possible, literally to the point that they are like poppy seeds almost, and that's how it looks. It's almost like it's almost turning the shallots into a puree. But these are great when you, let's say, using them on oysters, on, okay, we're not going to do that. As I said, you know, we're not looking for the finest chop here, especially in home cooking. Don't go too crazy. But yeah, places like that, they will go all the way. So that's why, if let's say you're going to Sunfire, let's just give an example. There are quite a few places here, good places here in Jersey that you can go to have some local cuisine, to taste the local cuisine. Then chefs in those kind of places, they will go all the way. Obviously, hence the price. They are slightly more expensive that your around the corner shop or takeaway, so to speak. We've got Tim here. He's missed this. Of course, he's missed this. You know, it's the best cooking show here in Jersey. How can you not miss it? I actually missed this too. It was. It's been a while. And I'll try to do more. That's why I moved it to Sundays, because I feel like I'm gonna have a bit more availability on Sunday. So that's why I'll try to do more live cooking, having a bit of chat with you guys here. It's just lovely seeing you in the chat and just interacting. I think it's a lot better and feels more alive than me recording a recipe, which, don't get me wrong, it might do probably better in the long run, because nobody really is watching these live streams, you know, after they're done. With the recipe, if you record it, people might be a little bit more interested, because you literally chop to the point that only the part that's related to the recipe is there. But now, here we have a bit of chat. Even if we're taking longer, you know, we're gonna get some good results. And if we're not gonna get some good results, at least you'll see me failing, which is great. Pure embarrassment live. So yeah, it's great seeing you, team, here. Let's give you a big clap for being back with us. And then this is not just for you. Same goes for Patricia. Let's give a big clap to Patricia, because she's been with us for quite a while, and she's obviously watching us pretty much the whole time, and hopefully now being on Sunday even more than that. So we've got Alex again. Let's give a round of applause to each one of you guys, because you definitely deserve being here with me on this Sunday morning. And then we've got our friend the cheesy friend. Okay, perfect. So now we have these nice and hot. Let's get some oil in here. I'm gonna go first with, because it's pretty hot, I'm gonna go with literally about 1 tablespoon of veg oil, even a bit less, because you know we have quite a lot of heat. If I was to add butter, it will literally burn, so we don't want that. So now let's go in with the shallots. The thing is, I just want to kind of like give them literally just a touch of color, and then after that we're going straight in with the mushrooms. So now we are under pressure here, because we need to get the mushrooms in. It all depends how much you wanna, how many people you have to feed, basically. But I'm gonna get all these mushrooms here, because by the time they cook, they will reduce a whole lot. So don't worry about it. Yeah, we'll try to keep it as simple as possible. Now it's time probably to add a bit of butter, because the heat is kind of like dissipating slightly. So let's go in with about 10 grams of butter. So butter straight in. So we've got something in there. Now let's keep going with the mushrooms. And you don't need to chop the mushrooms too small. I think it's nice to see some sort of like texture in the plate. Well, not necessarily texture, but to make them visible, make them kind of like pop in the plate, because if you slice them too small, then obviously they're gonna kind of like turn into a puree, because they are more of a like water-based vegetables. Can I even call them that way? Yeah, they are turning into more into a puree than, and you're not going to see much of them. So if you leave them slightly chunkier, like I did here, not a whole lot, because you don't want them to be, that will be probably best for you. Now, you can use these, by the way, as well, but in my situation, they don't look that great, so I'm just going to get rid of the actual mushroom stem. So we want to kind of cook these. You want to cook these for about 2 or 3 minutes from now on. They will get a bit of color as well. The onion will cook in the same time. So it's great that we've got Anna here. Hi Anna, nice to see you. You did say that you're going to watch the stream. You did say that you're going to watch the recipe. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Okay, so I'm not gonna add, probably you've seen some of my previous recipes with mushrooms. Try not to add the salt right from the beginning. And the reason for this, not that you're gonna create some sort of disaster, but the idea is that if you're adding salt right from the beginning, the mushrooms will release the water, the water that the mushroom contains in a lot faster pace. So it will turn into some sort of like flooding in your pan, which probably eventually will get to that point, but till it gets to that point, you want to give them some sort of like roasting into a pan almost. Because as you can see here, I mean, I'm not sure how much you can see, probably not a whole lot because of the steam, but they have some sort of color as well because the pan was pretty hot. So I kind of want that. If you don't achieve it, don't really worry, but if you were gonna add the salt right from the beginning, I can guarantee you it's almost impossible to get it. Because they will, as soon as they get in contact with the salt, they will release that liquid from the mushrooms and they will literally boil, which it starts happening now. I'm not that bothered now. It's kind of fine. You see the liquid that comes out, that's fine. It contains, the mushrooms themselves contain a lot of that liquid, so not that big of a deal. Now I'm gonna grate a bit of garlic, only 1 clove of garlic. You don't wanna go crazy, although you know me, I'm a big fan of garlic, but in this situation, 1 clove should do the job. I'm just gonna literally use the grater, going in with it straight on, if I find the grater. Oh, I do find the grater, perfect. So we're just going straight in with 1 clove of garlic. You can add this at the beginning, you can add it now. It doesn't really influence the whole dish a whole lot. Okay, so that's 1 clove of garlic here, straight in. So we got the garlic out of the way. Let's do a bit of cleaning, so that's really important, keeping everything nice and clean. How are we doing this morning, guys? I see that we have 6 people into the stream, which is great. I really appreciate that you're spending this Sunday morning with me, or if you're probably watching from Romania, it's almost, well, it is actually after 12, or if you're watching from any other country, because on Facebook is mainly Jersey and probably Romania, I would say. Yeah, that's probably second, or UK, something like that. But if you're going on my YouTube channel, are people from all over the world. Probably the second biggest one would be US. So if you're watching from the US, actually give me a shout into the chat. Let me know. I'll be interested to know what time is there where you're watching from, because it'll probably be all over the place comparing to what we've got here. Now, mushrooms are looking kind of okay. I'm happy with what I've got here. Now, what we're gonna do now, add the salt and pepper, because at this point, if we're happy with what we've got here, we're going in with the salt and pepper. A good pinch of salt and a pinch of black pepper. Freshly grounded does the best job. Okay, so that's in. Right, reduce the heat, and now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add a touch of cream. And also, because I couldn't find fresh dill, I've got some dill tips, which is like basically dry dill. But if you find fresh dill, probably add some fresh dill, but do it at the end. If you're adding fresh, if you're adding dry, it's not gonna make that huge of a difference. You're not going to see any change of color. These are dry, are gone. These are in just for flavor and nothing else. If you don't like dill, try with parsley. If you don't like any of these, or if you don't have, skip them entirely, you'll be fine. So we need to, I'm gonna reduce this slightly, but for now, I wanna take these off the heat because we need some time for this anyway. We're gonna bring it back on the heat. And when we bring it back on the heat, we're gonna adjust the consistency, how thick, how thin we want it. The idea is that I'm not gonna go, oh, hi Maria, we've got someone from France, which is great. Great to see people from France. Nice to see people from all over the planet. Sounds good. Okay, so I'm gonna take this off the heat, as I said, because it's not really, we're not gonna use it now. Plus, when we put it back on the heat, we can adjust what we need to adjust, like the consistency, how thick or how thin we want it. I'm probably not gonna add much more cream, even if, let's say, it will probably reduce slightly because it will stay there probably for another 10-15 minutes. But we'll see when we come to it. So that's the mushrooms right there. That's it, as easy as it gets, in my opinion. Salt, pepper, a bit of dill if you want to, a bit of parsley if you want to. But if you use them fresh, as mentioned, try to add them at the end because you want to keep them nice and green. Now, moving on. So we're not going to need anymore the onion. What else we're not going to need? We might need the cream. We'll figure out in a minute, but we'll find out that if we need it or not. So hang in there. So now what we want to do, I'm going to turn these on just because I want to make sure that the water is nice and hot. So at the end, when we're bringing the dish together, the poached eggs will be nice and hot. That will be nice and hot. The toast will be ready. So everything goes in the same time, nice and hot, the way they should be in this situation. So what I'm going to do now, I want to prepare the avocado puree, which is more of a, like, some, as I mentioned, you know, it's somewhere between a guacamole and an avocado puree, because I don't want to make it too complicated. That means, you know, you start making breakfast and then you end up eating in the afternoon otherwise. Although if you talk the same like I do, you might end up anyway. So I'm gonna transfer this into a bowl or something, you know, so I can kind of, will this be okay? I don't even know, we'll find out. Yeah, we'll transfer this into a bowl, and after that we're gonna crush it basically, because we're not gonna go crazy turning into a puree. You could do, but what's the point? It's home cooking. Plus, I kind of like it crushed, you know, a lot better than turning it into a soft puree. So any bits that needs to be removed. It's not exactly the best avocado I've seen, but it will do the job, I guess. Thank you, Alice. Have a great day. So we'll see you next time. I'm guessing you heading out, which is fine. It was nice seeing you till now. I'll see you in the next one. So now let me just kind of like cut in. I could have done that earlier, but what can you do? So I'm just gonna kind of like cut in a few smaller pieces before I start crushing it with the spoon. I'm making this so much more complicated than it should have been, because I should have just put it into the pestle and mortar, smash it in there, and job done. But you know me, I always try to make things complicated. So let's get the fork. So we're getting a fork here, and we're just mashing this avocado, and then I'm gonna add some lemon juice or lime juice just to keep it from oxidating. Plus, I do want some sort of acid in my dish. So this is gonna be the part that's bringing the acid. This is rock solid. So this is kind of a weird avocado. Half of it it's perfect. Half of it is absolutely rock solid. So we'll have to select what we're using here, but it should be definitely enough for 2 portions. If, let's say, that's what you end up with, it should be enough for 2 portions. Bear in mind that this is not the main reason or the main ingredient of this dish. So this is just kind of bringing something extra to what we've got already, the mushrooms, the poached egg. So we're just crushing it. Yeah, not bad, not bad. It could have been a lot worse. So now what I'm gonna do, we've got literally just try to use like a wedge of lemon or lime. This will keep it nice and green till we get back to it. Plus, as I said, and a good drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. About 1 tablespoon probably I've added. And let's go with some salt and pepper. Season everything along the way. Get them nice and seasoned right from the beginning as much as you can. So when it comes to putting everything together, you don't have to worry about taste and about how this is gonna work together, because you have everything ready in advance. Now, avocado, done. I'm not saying that you cannot go extra, adding some coriander if you want to, adding some chopped tomatoes in there. You could definitely do that. We'll keep it nice and simple, as I said. Salt, pepper, a bit of extra virgin olive oil. Job done. Easy. So now we're moving on to the egg. So we are actually not that bad. 26 minutes. You probably don't want to spend 26 minutes when you're making breakfast, but the idea is that you can make it a lot faster if, let's say, you don't talk that much. So now, poached eggs. Let's make some poached eggs. Let me find my whisk. So the idea with poached eggs is pretty simple. You need fresh eggs. If you don't have fresh eggs, you're probably it's not gonna kind of work, because fresh eggs kind of hold together, the others are kind of exploding into the water. How fresh these are? Well, according to the package, are kind of fresh. We'll find out now how good they are. If they're going all over the place, you can either blame me or blame the eggs. But it's pretty simple. Yeah, this vinegar probably looks horrendous, but the idea is that it's organic vinegar, so that's why it looks like this. Is raw organic. It's raw organic apple cider vinegar. That's a mouthful. So the idea is that we need some vinegar in there to keep the eggs together. But if the eggs are too old, then no matter what you add in there, they're still probably gonna go all over the place. So let's increase the heat. I need probably 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons of vinegar in how much water is here. I don't even know. Is there something to measure? There used to be. It's probably long gone. Yeah, that would be probably 1 liter, 200 milliliters of water. So I'm adding about 2 tablespoons of vinegar. Whether you don't need to go with cider vinegar, by the way. White wine vinegar, cider vinegar, pretty much any acid will do the job. But the idea is that you want it to be kind of white so it doesn't influence the color of the eggs. Or if you want to influence the color of the eggs, you might want to go with red wine vinegar, let's say. So it's all up to you, really, what you're doing here. Yeah, I know, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it's much easier to blame me because obviously I'm the one that I should know how to make poached eggs, but we'll figure out whether they work or not in a minute. I never really had issues making poached eggs, but I feel like if I'm gonna fail now, there's gonna be something to make fun of, which I'm actually encouraging you to do it. Well, there are some basic rules, in my opinion, the way I kind of do it. Now, it's totally up to you. You probably have other techniques. I've seen all sorts of devices. I'm going classic. I mean, look, it's me and the pan. That's it. That's all we need. So the idea is, I'm using a whisk. The idea of using the whisk, I'll just show before we start. So we're forming like a whirlpool. So what this does is basically wrapping the egg white around the yolk. So we'll ideally, it'll keep them, nice and compact whilst boiling. Well, simmering, because that's another thing that we need to talk about. You don't want to boil the water, because as soon as you boil the water, everything is going all over the place. So you want to bring to a simmering temperature and stop there, if you can. I mean, with induction, it's a bit more complicated, but you know what I mean. You want simmering temperature, so it's basically the temperature between boiling and not boiling. Close to 100 degrees. Basically, but not going all over the place. Now, let's see. The moment of truth. So the water, I feel like is where it should be. Now, what you can do, I'm actually going to show you how to do it the proper way, because I never really do it, but I'll show you how to do it the proper way. The idea is, if let's say one of these eggs is, for some reason, is the yolk is broken, that's gone. So you need to kind of like check that before you do it. Or maybe the egg is basically off, because you can find eggs that are literally gone long before. And like this, you prepare everything slightly in advance, have them in like ramekins like this, and then after that, let's form that whirlpool. And then we add them one by one in the center. One, oh, that looks good. 2, 3. Yeah, I guess not bad, not bad. They could be better, or we could probably leave a bit more space in between, so they basically don't kind of like touch one another and kind of like okay, they don't look bad, so we'll find out. Okay, so what we need now, meanwhile, I need to get the toast ready. Do I have a big pan? Let's get a pan for this. So, pan for the toast. The eggs, I can't remember it. The way I do it with poached eggs, I check them, you know. I don't rely necessarily on timer. Probably you need, I don't know, 3 minutes, something like that. But I test them, you know. I just check, like, you know, how soft. So they need to be soft, but not that soft that are not cooked. So that's the whole idea. Now, let's move here. We need butter. So butter is going straight in. And we need the toast. Oops. Oh, that was close. Okay. Almost breaking everything here. I'm gonna go for a slightly chunkier toast. Something like this. Or we're going for the next one. I'm gonna use them both. Well, in one dish, I'm gonna use one toast. Let me show you how. That's what I'm going for, and quite chunky. So if you can, try to go for bread that's not already sliced, especially if you're making homemade, even better. But try to go for something like this. So the butter is melting, and then I just want to kind of get butter on both sides before I let it cook. Well, toast, because that's the idea. We need to get it toasted to give it some sort of flavor. Now let's move this, because we're not gonna, I'm just gonna show you how to make one of them. So that's the bread there. We want to get it nice and golden brown in color, and we'll see how. With what can you replace the butter? Well, to be honest, you could literally make this without any butter, any oil, anything like that. You could simply toast your bread, and that's it. So you could toast your bread. You don't need to go this way. If, let's say, you might be that you are in lactose intolerance, it might be that you just don't want to add that extra butter, because it's basically fat, so you might not want that fat, you know. But it all depends what you want. But you can definitely just toast the bread without doing anything else. So let's see how the egg look like. Okay, that's looking good. Not bad, not bad. We are not far. So the toast starts getting some color. Let me show you how it looks like. It starts getting some color. I'm gonna get the mushrooms back on, because this is not that far. These are actually, I'm gonna leave them here on the side, because I want to keep them nice and hot, but not for too long, because they will overcook. We still want them nice and runny when at the time of plating. So mushrooms, heat them up. Now we need the plate. Let's get the plate. We are not that far from the end. Plate. The toast looks good. Let me show you actually what we've got here. So the toast has got some color on it. That's what we want. Remove this off the heat. So toast. And I want to add this on the toast. It's totally up to you. As I say, you can skip this. You don't have to add the avocado if you don't like. If you feel like, oh, that's probably too much, you don't have to add the avocado. Just skip it. Mushrooms, hot. We need a spoon for it. Oh, getting messy here. But that's fine, because in the end, you know, we'll still kind of drizzle with a bit of that yeah, the eggs are kind of perfect, to be honest. If you were to eat them right away, they are perfect. They are not that. So let me get some sort of, one sec. Ideally, you want to put them on a paper so they don't, so you kind of like get rid of that water that's inside the, well, that kind of comes with the eggs. Oh, we've got Andre in the house. Hi, Andre. Nice to see you. As always, he's here. Great to see you again. So, eggs. There are 3 eggs here. So we're going to use 2 for this. So 1 here. Just make sure that you don't break them. And 1 here. Now, if you were to have some sort of like greens, whether it's dill, because we use dill, whether it's just go with a bit on top, drizzle a bit around it, few mushrooms. If you want to go like in style, you could do that. Just add a few mushrooms around it. And then depending on how much sauce you want, you can go with a bit more sauce. And I know it looks a bit all over the place with the mess I've got on the table, but my friends, this is the breakfast nicely served. Nothing that complicated in my opinion. As I said, if you want to replace the avocado with something else, you can even do it with ricotta cheese if you want instead of avocado. But this nice, easy. It will look even better if you have some sort of greens on top. But you know the idea. This is what we ended up with. Nice, easy, delicious. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up on the way out, and I will see you in the next one next Sunday, because we change from every Friday to every Sunday, and I'm hoping there's going to be another live stream next Sunday. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. See you next time.